Education, as we know, is a tool to pass knowledge, skills, and wisdoms of the past generations to the next generation. So, as I have already told, that is, education will act as an instrument in passing the cultural values, then traditions, the rules, the regulations, the customs from one generation to the next generation. So here we have to equip the child or prepare the child to face the 21st century. So now it is a world of lot of competition, and it is a competitive world. Here, the child has to be well equipped with different kinds of potentialities and abilities, and it can be possible when, if he or she is properly educated. Then only today's child is to cope up for the 21st century. And here, we have to prepare the child to face the challenges of life. Again, for this, it is necessary to identify the minimum requisite skills of the members of the society. What is the demand? How the child has to adjust in future? What are the requirements, or what kind of behavior is expected from the child? That is, here its members should possess the skill of learning how to learn, how to make use of knowledge, information they possess, be able to seek interconnection between various bits of information, be able to synthesize the old information with the new to arrive at their own solution. So here we have to teach the child how the child will able to adjust. Again, the child has to make lot of adaptation. Again, he has to add new knowledge to his past knowledge or learning. Again, what more? He should establish the interconnection between the various bits of information gathered by him. As we know, our sense organs are the gateways of information. Through that, we derive different kinds of information. So, here the child has to be made alert, sensitive, smart, creative, active. All these things have to be done. Then only the child will be able to learn these things, and he or she will be able to adjust in future. Again, here we see that the educational aims. So as per the national policy of 1986, education has what type of role? As an acculturating role. It refines and the sensibilities and perceptions that contribute to national cohesion. A scientific temper, that is, it focuses upon what? National integration, develops a scientific temper, independence of mind and spirit. What more? That is furthering the goal of socialism, secularism, and democracy enshrined in our constitution. That is, the different goals of democracy, the different principles of secularism, socialism, everything is to be enshrined or inculcated. The values are to be inculcated in the child or developed in the child. Again, education is considered as one of the important economic investment, so that if we invest in education now, we can get what kind of output, the type of citizens will be getting. Upon them, the future of the nation depends. That is, if the citizens are well equipped with the latest technology, well skilled manpower is there, educated citizens are there, then only we can say that our future, the country's national development is better. We can develop. Still, we are a developing country. We are not developed like the USA, UK, Russia. They are all developed countries. We are still lagging behind. So, here, if our citizens are educated, they have skilled manpower, latest technological know-how or knowledge, then only we can say that if we are able to we have able to achieve the targets or the goals or the aims and objectives of our education. Again, education cannot be limited to the cognitive domain only. That is, education only depends upon, or it is referring to only the intellectual development or mental development. That is not the case. It is all round development of personality. That is, it includes your mental aspect, social aspect, physical aspect, spiritual aspect, emotional aspect. All these things are to be taken care of. then only a proper development will take. Again, it is the responsibility of the education to make the child socialized, civilized, cultured, so that both the individual aim and social aim, there is a synthesis. In block 1, we had seen that is synthesis between the individual and social aim. Why that has been done? So that the personality of the individual is developed, and moreover the individual has will become a better social being and contribute to the welfare of the society. So here, as we can say that, treat others as you like to be treated. The type of treatment you want from others, first you have to give that kind of treatment to others, then only you will receive the same thing. That is, there is a saying in Hindi also, that is, बबूल का पेड़ में आम कैसे उगेगा? So here, if you have sown a plant or a tree of another breed, how will you expect mango from it? If the tree is a neem tree you have planted, how can you expect the sweet mangoes from that tree? So as you sow, so shall you reap. In the same way, as you behave with others, the same type of respect or hatred will be coming back to you. So here, social contribution should be there. Man should not be selfish or self-centered. Both the personal development and the social development is equally important. Then only democracy can function properly. So here, education needs to be a creative process. Again, creative process. As we see in our constitution also, liberty is there, freedom of expression is there. A child should be given freedom to express. Different type of opportunity should be provided. Then only creative talents will develop. Again, we see that here different types of methodology should be applied in classroom teaching. Different teaching aids should be utilized so that the classroom can be made creative, interesting, lively, and students should become active learners. They should not be passive listeners only. The entire pedagogy or the teaching learning system should focus upon child. There should be child-centered curriculum, child-centered education. Here we see that the principal task of education is to create men and women who are capable of doing new things, not simply repeating what other generations have done. This particular thing is said by Jean Piaget, a psychologist. What he says, that is, the main aim or the task of education is to create men and women who are capable of doing new things. That is, they should develop their creative talents. They should have that potentiality, ability. They should not just imitate and copy what others have done. They should develop their originality, and for that, proper opportunity, proper guidance, proper educational ambience is required. Here we see that the task of education is not merely to impart knowledge and develop the skills of gathering and correlating facts. It is to see the significance of life as a whole, to develop in human beings the capacity to perceive the essentiality of the nature, discover the lasting values, break down the national and social barriers. So here, scientific temper, scientific thought process, rational thought process is to be developed. Again, broad outlook is to be developed. Mutual respect, cooperation, peaceful coexistence, non-violence, all these values are to be developed among the young ones or among the children. Then only we can say they can be better citizens. Here we see there are two type of classroom, where one particular classroom where teacher is all in all, that is teacher centered classroom. Another is what? Child centered classroom. Here in the first one, the teacher just passes on the knowledge and rote memorization is done by the students without understanding, without making practical usage of that particular knowledge, theoretical knowledge. The child just marks it up and reproduces in the answer sheet. That should not be the case. Here, modern education system focuses upon child-centered curriculum, where the child has to understand a thing. construct the knowledge himself. And teacher is just like a stage setter, a gardener, just providing guidance. He will be there as a supporting him. The teacher has a supporting role. The entire thing is to be done by the student himself or herself. The student has to construct the knowledge and practically apply it. Then only the proper development of the child can take place. Again, International Commission on Education for the 21st Century has given a holistic vision of education. That is what? It has focused upon or included four important pillars of learning. What are they? Learning to know, learning to do, learning to live with each other, and learning to be. Here, learning to know. One should learn how to gather knowledge. One should learn how to practically do that particular, practically apply that knowledge, the doing aspect. Learning to live with each other. That is, learning to live in a cooperative atmosphere, mutual respect, tolerance, understanding, affect, fellow feeling, cooperation, universal brotherhood. These all things matters a lot. Then learning to be your own original quality, originality. There are individual differences. Each and every one is unique in its own way. All these things are to be taken care of. Then only proper development or all the aspects of personality will develop. Then only education will success. Education will succeed in the aim. So here education should aim not only at developing a sense of dignity and worth of the individual and a sense of caring for the self and others, but also promote creative thinking, build the capacity of reasoning, develop problem solving ability, help the child in decision making. So these are the requirements or these are the abilities that are to be developed by education so that the child is well equipped. The child develops all these potentialities so as to face the future. Because in 21st century, it is a very competitive society. And here, the child will have lot of difficulties in adjustment. So what is the use of educate if the education is not up to the mark? Then the child will not be able to get a job or earn his or her livelihood. There will be only frustration, wastage of time, energy, and money. That should not be the case. So there should be upgradation of curriculum. The latest technological gadgets should be used in teaching the curriculum. That is ICT enabled tools should be there. The TLM, that is teaching learning material, should be upgraded. Then only we can say that is education will help a child or the child will lead a happy and contented life. Again, it is a dynamic and continuous process. So why it is known as a dynamic and continuous process? Because it has lot of role to play. Different types of role, that is in the personal level, in the societal level, in the national level. Last class we have seen the goals of education. So there are different types of functions performed by education. It helps in the social development, it helps in the personal development, it helps in the mental development, it helps in the physical development. So it has dynamic role to play. Again, continuous process. So here we are referring to the broader aim of education, that is from womb to tomb, that is from your birth till death. So there is no boundary or end to it. The scope of education is life itself. So here we see that is there should be flexibility also in the teaching learning process. Again, there is a need of what? The need of the hour is to provide educational system which can be simultaneously cater to the varied learner's need. Since the learner choices are becoming more distinct, again, flexibility and diversification of courses is required. New courses and new syllabus and new subjects are to be included so that they are up to the mark of the student, up to the mark of the societal demands and according to the needs and requirements of the learner. Both the things are to be taken care of so that the child develops interest and willingly learns. Nothing has to be forced. The child has to learn by himself. Otherwise, he'll become a passive learner. Only he will memorize it. There will be only cramming and rote memorization. It is of no use. Practical usage will be zero. So here we see what? That is diversification and flexibility in the curriculum and the courses. Even we see that if we take the example of your IGNOU courses, so here we see the variety of courses are there. There is this is purely a learner centered some type of activities going on where the student is able to take admission and give the examination, and even distance education facilities are there. Even if the student is a in service fellow, he or she can learn. So here all types of facilities are available, open and distance learning. And there are different types of courses are there, certificate courses, diploma courses, advanced diploma courses are there. All this is possible. Why so? Because of the information and communication technology. You can take the example of this particular class. In this pandemic situation, everyone is at home in a safe condition, and this platform, this online platform is helping all of us to deliver the lesson and also to receive the lesson. So this is all has been possible due to the different kinds of scientific and technological inventions and discoveries. Again, education should be relevant. That is what? That is, it should be according to the demands of the society. Outdated curriculum should be removed. Latest, latest things that are to be included in the curriculum. Upgradation of the curriculum is required. So, the latest demands of the society, that the things that are in demand in the market should be included. For example, your technical knowledge, knowledge about computers, all these things are to be included. Then only the child will be well equipped to face his or her adult life. Again, diversity. Diversity, the programs need to be adaptable and flexible to provide education on demand. Innovative educational technologies should be there. Again, what? So, dimensions of education. Education is meant for the development of human beings as it is a human right. So, it is expected to impart what? Skills suitable for living and making one's livelihood. That is indicating to what? Vocational education. Promoting general powers of the mind. That is your intellectual development, critical thinking, scientific thought process. What more? Making the individual civilized, cultured, rational being with all type of civic sense. So here you should have proper civic sense. You should be civilized, rationalized, and more cultured. This is all possible due to education. Again, here education as an investment of economic benefit. So education is described as an outcome, input output outcome system, which good policy can make more efficient. Investment in education gives people more opportunities by developing their latent abilities. Here, economic development depends upon positive utilization of advancement in technology and science, and educated members are better equipped to do so. Education also leads to better healthcare, small family, increased community awareness and participation. These are the different things that we get, or these are the different dimensions of education. Here, what are the different roles played by education? So, here, education for social development. So, social development stands for developing people and community to act effectively in their circumstances. How well you can adjust in different odd situations. What kind of relation do you share with your neighbor and community people? Whether you are a helpful being, are you sociable? Whether you are tolerant, you have cooperative lifestyle. So all these things are important, and it requires what? You should be civilized, and you should have civic sense. You should be cultured. You should develop a polished personality. These all things are important. Then education for political democracy. So promotion of education among minorities and disadvantaged groups are important. The minorities, community, the ST, STs, all they are to be included in the mainstream. They should be given the voting right. their needs and requirements should be taken care of. Then only we can say, we'll be able to say that democracy is functioning properly. And there is a rapid pace of modernization will bring forward skilled and knowledgeable people who can utilize information for informed decision making and implementation for the betterment of the nation. That is, their active role in politics may bring respect for national interest above the regional group or class interest in politics. Again, education enables one to vote in an informed manner. If you are educated, then you do have the capacity to select the right person and make him or her the leader. Otherwise, if you select a person who is not capable enough as a leader, then you have to face the consequences. He or she will be only having his own personal interest, and he'll not take care of the entire community. So it's of no use, just wastage of your voting right. So education enables one to vote in an informed manner, to make leaders accountable and understand their own rights and duties. Education and human rights. So here we see that on 10th December 1948, the international statement of these rights was adopted by the General Assembly. And from that day onwards, 10th December is celebrated as Human Rights Day every year. And the declaration proclaims economic, social, political, civil, and cultural rights, so that each and every human being has some minimum rights, and the things are to be taken care of, whether the individual is having a proper education, basic requirements of life, food, clothing, shelter, freedom is provided, freedom of thought, freedom of expression, voting right is given or not. There should be promotion of social and gender equality, understanding and tolerance, sense of dignity, fundamental freedom, respect for human rights. All these things are to be taken care of. Moreover, the preamble of Indian Constitution reflects the basic principle of Universal Declaration of Human Rights, that is justice, liberty, equality, fraternity are the four basic ideals mentioned in it, and this forms the core of our Indian Constitution. The things are there in our Constitution, but how far are these things practically carried out? They are just there in pen and paper. There are individuals who are lagging there. They are not included in the mainstream. The minority communities, women, SC, ST, people belonging to SC, ST community, they are to be included. Then only we can say that education has helped a lot in maintaining democracy. Then education for ethical development, that is, each and every individual is educated, or we see that we are literate only. In real sense, education means what? You have that cultural value. You are a rational being. You are a civilized person. All these things matter a lot. Otherwise, you have only attained a certificate. You are a human being without any kind of humane qualities. That should not be the case. Attainment of certificate is not our motto. Our motto is to develop good human beings who are capable to face the different challenges of life. They lead a self-contented, well life and also contribute in social welfare and development. They develop good ethics sense. That is very important. They should have proper moral development. Then only we can say that education is all-round development of personality. When we say that all-round development, it includes all aspects of personality, not only the cognitive or intellectual part. What next? Education should help human beings enter into the relation of the life, mind, and soul of humanity. That is very important. So, soul of humanity. Soul of humanity means what? Humane qualities are to develop. Otherwise, there is no use of education. Then, education and culture. We have seen that cultural values are developed, maintained, and also transmitted from generation to generation by the help of what? By the help of education. So education is mainly seen as a means of imparting the accumulated fruits of civilization and culture to the young ones. These include what? Traditions, music, dance, literature, art, and all other aspects of our cultural legacy. So here, ours is a multicultural and multilinguistic society. There should be unity in diversity, and national integration should be there. So we should respect the cultural values of other caste, religion, community people. Then only there will be national integration. Then education and ethics. So education enables an individual to appreciate the finer things in life and the beauty of the world around him or her. Seeing a particular thing, experiencing a particular thing, valuing worldly aspects in a new way, transfers individuals' relationship with the world, expanding their perception and value. The way how you perceive a thing, the way how you observe a thing, what is your reaction to a particular thing, how do you react, what kind of emotional maturity do you have, all these matters. And education will help you in refinement and betterment. An educated an educated person has the capacity to observe things in totality, ability to identify the uniqueness in everything, identification of the web of relationship between all forms of existence, loves to live in harmony with nature. These all things will enrich our life. Then we see that is here education helps us in what process? It helps to prepare the citizen of tomorrow. So in this way, we see what are the different dimensions of education and how all these dimensions help. All these dimensions help in what? Here we see that education has different types of role to play. That is, it is acting as a tool where the individual will be made able or equipped with the latest things that are required or that is expected from him to face the 21st century challenge. Then what type of knowledge is required? So far we have told that knowledge is required, all type of for making the child adjust so that the child is not facing any kind of maladjustment problem. Now we'll be discussing what type of knowledge is there required, what exactly the word knowledge means. Again, what does it mean to say that one knows a thing, particularly one knows a thing, and whether the particular thing that a person knows is a true is a truth or falsity is there in that, whether the individual is able to give any evidence that what he is saying that is true. Does he have any kind of alibi? What kind of proof he has? What kind of evidence that person is able to give? Then only we can say that the person is telling truth. So here, according to Plato's view, Plato says what? He has given, he is in favor of rationalism, rational thought process. So Plato has made clear distinction between knowledge and belief. According to him, the things that we gain from our sense experience, that is the knowledge that we receive from sense experience, doesn't matter because it is purely personal in nature. There are two major flaws are there. According to him, he says that when a person sees something or experiences something, the person may not be always right. What are the true mistakes? Two mistakes or flaws. First is what? Perceptions are often distorted and observation are always subjective. How you perceive. Each and every individual has a different way of perceiving a thing. It differs from individual to individual. Again, observation are purely subjective. It is very difficult to have objective observation. There is always a personal touch attached to it. So here, if we can avoid these two things, then only we can say that the thing which we have seen or perceived or observed is true. Therefore, what he says, it seemed obvious to Plato that the study of science and sense data would never lead to certain knowledge. Knowledge, according to Plato, was what? a matter of grasping necessary truth. Necessary in the sense that in no circumstances it should be untrue. So Plato said, if you are saying a particular thing to be true, then you have to give evidence or that can be proved by other people also that what you are saying is true. And it is impossible to be mistaken about. You dare not tell a lie. You should have that much of confidence, or you should be able to prove that what you are saying is true. Only that knowledge is to be considered as what? A priori knowledge. That is, for him, rationalism and a priori knowledge was considered to be the only true knowledge. So here, that led to the development of what? Rationalist tradition. So in rationalism, knowledge is regarded as an analogous to grasping of mathematical truth. What is mathematical truth? Universal in nature. That is, the sum of three angles of a triangle will always be 180 degree. Here, if I measure, anyone measures, may it be in India or somewhere else, the three angles will always sum up to 180 degree. It is a universal truth. It is a mathematical truth. So for him, truth like these are accepted because it is free from biasness, it is free from subjectivity, it is free from all sorts of perception disorder. Perception is here, this is not distorted. Distortion is not there over here. Again, that is one more view, that is empiricist view of knowledge. They are saying just the opposite. Here, knowledge is not taken as a matter of deduction from self-evident principles, but comes as a result of observation and experimentation in the empirical world. If the experiment which a person has done has given a particular result, then the observer or the experimenter says that what I have done is true. He claims that what I have done is true. I can prove that. The result of observation is free from subjectivity. So, on the basis of the order and regularity that occur in our experience with the external world, the world of sex experience, sense expression experiences are important. Sense organs, they give us valid information. This was the view of empiricists. This is just the opposite from rationalism, what Plato just told. That is not the case. For Plato, mathematical truth and universal truth are the real knowledge. Whereas empiricists say what we observe, the type of experimentation we do, through our sense organ, the type of experience we gain, only those things are said to be true or knowledgeable. So the supporters of this particular kind of view are who? That is James Mill, Hume, Locke. These are the philosophers who support the empiricist view. Again, the substantial knowledge. This is otherwise known as substantial knowledge. Here, however, it is not a body of necessary truth, but conclusions or generalization based on observation, experimentation, and experiences. So here, both these things differ. One says that is mathematical truths are truth. Other says those that can be proved through experimentation are true. Again, another new thing, knowledge as a necessary and synthetic. So here, both the rationalist and empiricist account of knowledge seems to be one-sided and not wholly adequate. The inadequacy of rationalist mathematical paradigm was that the necessary truth, though certain, did not give any substantial information which can be useful. Truth of this kind are formal but empty. On the other hand, empirical generalization are useful, substantial, but not necessarily always true. But not necessarily always true. So both of these things contradict to each other. Then they are contingent propositions. They are true only insofar as there is an evidence to support them, and there is always the possibility that if new things come up in science and technology, the experiment which we did yesterday will be proved as false. So that shows that knowledge keeps on evolving and knowledge is changeable. The thing which we believe as true today, after some experiments or new inventions, can be proved wrong, false. Here, Kant argued that in experiencing the world, we necessarily do so under certain conditions. We can experience the world as we do in assumption that the world is a causal system operating in space and time. Kant holds that we can only experience the world under certain forms and categories of mind, which structure our experience and give it a framework of necessary. According to this particular philosopher, Kant holds structuring of our experience is to be logical prerequisite of our knowing or even experiencing at all. So you have to apply proper logical understanding to it. The argument should be logically proved. Then only a thing is to be considered as true. Again, conditions of knowledge. What conditions have to be fulfilled or satisfied before anyone can properly say that I have known something? What are the criteria? The concept of mind calls an achievement word to know that P is the case, is to claim to have had a success, is to be in a certain position in respect of P. So roughly to have known something is to guarantee the truth of the proposition concerned. If I am saying a particular thing called say P is true, then I have to prove that it is true. Then what are the criteria of my saying P as true? First is what? The requirement is that proposition P must be true as a matter of fact. That what I am saying should be literally true. Second, I must be sure. If I am saying that so and so is true, then I must be sure, dead sure that what I am saying is literally true. So the next requirement is that person making the claim must be sure that P is true. Again, there is one more criteria. The third condition is that person making the claim must be able to cite evidences of the right kind of support his claim. Again, what I am saying, I should have evidence, alibi to support what I am claiming to do. So what are the three conditions? First, a particular thing called P, which I am saying must be true. Second, I must be sure, dead sure that what I am saying is true. Third, I should provide evidence to support the claim that what I am saying is true. These are the three important conditions of knowledge. So, in this way, we can say that what do you mean by the concept of knowing, or what are the conditions of knowing? Again, knowing that and knowing how. These two are two different things. Knowing that, for example, is the theoretical knowledge. Knowing how is the practical knowledge. I can tell about how to ride a cycle theoretically. That is referring to knowing that. But if I'll show you practically how to ride a cycle by maintaining the balance, that is known as knowing how. Some individuals are there, they have never, they don't know how to ride a cycle practically, but they can theoretically explain how to maintain a balance, and they can very lucidly or very elaborately they can explain how to ride a cycle theoretical way. So they have potentiality of knowing that, but when it comes to practically show, they are not able to do that. So knowing how refers to the practical part, and knowing that refers to your theoretical knowledge. How to do something refers to the how, and what is it refers to the knowing that part. So here we can say that, so knowing how type of knowledge is distinct from knowing that type of knowledge. Again, there is also a distinction between believing. Believing is something different. We believe something because someone has told you. Because like knowing, believing also is not an activity. To believe is to take up a certain position in respect of proposition. It is to accept the proposition as true, to believe that P is the case. So it is to accept that P is true, but it is, however, does not mean that one guarantees the truth of P. I believe that so and so is true, but will you be able to give a guarantee? That doesn't matter. I believe that is important. The chapter closes over there. So here we may believe P when P in fact is not true. It depends upon each one's own belief system. No one can question about that. So believing does not require any evidence for our position. So here we see that there is a difference between knowing that, there is a difference between knowing how, and the type of belief or faith we have. So here there are some different meaning of truth. For example, the first battle of Panipat was fought in the year 1526. It is an authoritative document. It is a fact. It is a factual knowledge. Second, milk contains bacteria. So here we observe that although it is true, but this statement rests on empirical evidence. That is, after experimentation, we'll be able to say that milk contains bacteria. By 2020, India will attain the status of a developed country. So, this is what? It is a factual assertion on the ground that it is true or false can be determined in principle by empirical observation of the trend of development. If the development is there, the trend of development is good, then only we can say that from a developing country, India can be converted into a developed country. Fourth one, the sum of the three angles of a triangle is always equal to 180 degrees, irrespective of the size or shape of the triangle. What is it? This is again a mathematical truth. So here we see such statements are what? So here we see that is no need, it can be proved logically only from definitions or postulates of geometry, because such things can never be presented. They can be represented. We cannot get a triangle, come here and show your shape and sizes or angles. We cannot measure like that. These are all theoretical things. It can be represented, but it can never be actually presented. So there is a difference between actual presentation and representation. So such statements therefore be said to be formally true, and they are not like the first three statements which are factually true. So the Panipat case, or the milk contain bacteria, or India will be a developed country, these all refer to your factual truth. But formal truth is what? That is, three angles of triangle is equal to 180 degree. Again, the fifth one, the coronation is the act or a ceremony of investing a sovereign with the royal crown. That is, in a kingdom, when the king leaves the throne for the prince, or the new prince is given the charge to handle the kingdom, the coronation ceremony. So it is, one can find an interesting combination of this particular statement has formal and factual truth. It is about what? Empirical generalization about usage. So this particular statement has both the combination of formal and factual truth. Again, the electrical currents flowing through a conductor is proportional to difference of electric pressure between its ends. So this is a statement which we see in the subject of physics. So this can be proved through experimentation. These are all scientific statements. So the nature of scientific theory and their relation to laws. A scientific law, as we know, is an assertion of an invariable association of independently defined variables. So here we see the theoretical construct such as the electrical pressure, atomic weight, molecules. Science is basically empirical, with its theoretical superstructure standing or falling in terms of degree of confirmation that may be discovered through empirical or experimental procedure. The things which are there in the theoretical part can only be proved through experiment or through discovered through empirical. Again, the seventh one is what? You should do unto others as you would have them to do unto you. The type of treatment you want from others, you should first behave in the same way, then only you will be getting the type of treatment you require. So here it is a moral truth. It is concerned with what? That it is neither true or nor false. So it itself is called a moral truth. Again, we have three theories to test truth, whether a particular statement or proposition is true or false. Factual truth, formal truth, empirical truth. These are the three different kinds of truth we have, and we have to test their reliability and validity. So formal truth, factual truth, and empirical truth are to be tested. So correspondence theory of truth. So here we see correspondence theory of truth. Theory says what? That is, for knowledge to be true, it must pair with reality. That is, if it is real, then only it is true. Again, if we see to the coherence theory of truth or consistency theory of truth, it says testing the truth of proposition of mathematics and logic, we need a logical or formal proof. That is a proof which is free from any kind of contradiction or logical fallacy. So, a particular thing free from logical fallacy and contradiction, then only we can say that it is in accordance to the coherence theory of truth, a particular proposition is true. Again, what is the pragmatic theory of truth? That is referring to the workability. Pragmatists say what? They propose to test the truth of ideas, facts, or theories by inquiring what would be practical consequences of acting on them. If a thing is workable, if the thing can be utilized of a particular thing, then it is to be accepted. If the idea works to do what is intended to do, then it is true. Otherwise, it is false. So here, if a thing that is prepared to for a particular aim, so here if that particular thing works for that aim, then only we can say that that particular thing is true. Otherwise, it is false. So here it is referring to what? Truth is what works. If that is not working, then if it cannot be utilized, then we cannot say that particular thing is true. So it perhaps relative in nature and hence dependent on the spatio-temporal context. According to the situation, according to the type of surrounding, if the particular thing works, if it has any kind of usage, then only we can say that that particular thing is true. Again, knowledge getting process. Knowledge getting process. According to John Locke, mind as a tabula rasa is a complete blank slate. He assumes that the human mind is like a tabula rasa, a clean slate or a blank tablet. Here, whatever imprinted on the child's mind, then the child learns accordingly. Whatever the teacher writes on his soul. It is just like a clean blackboard. So, the child is complete zero. He has no knowledge of his own. This is the thought of whom? John Locke. That is, the first approach is the empiricist approach. That is, mind as tabula rasa. But mind as a flowering seed is the second approach to knowledge. What does this particular thing say? It says that what? Here, mind, the child has some of the other qualities which is inborn in nature. He or she is not a blank slate. The teacher has to perform a role of a gardener. The teacher is like a gardener who must feed and water the plant and should stand back allowing the plants to grow. He is a stage setter. He should nurture the child. Educare, that is the definition educare, which means what? Rearing the child, taking care of the child, allowing the child to express properly the feelings, manifestation of behavior. So here, this is the second approach. Then the genetic epistemology of Piaget. According to Piaget, a celebrated psychologist, come philosopher, The organization of knowledge arises in the interaction between structured characteristics of environment and the active imposition of order by the child. That is, knowledge is constructed. How is it constructed? Whenever the child interacts with the surrounding, at that time, new knowledge is generated and the child learns gradually. There is the process of accommodation, there is the process of adaptation, there is the process of equilibration. All these things come under what? Genetic epistemology of Piaget. So, here we see the three different types or the knowledge getting processed. How an individual interacts with the environment, how he or she perceives a thing, observes a thing, knowing and interpreting the world. Knowing and interpreting the world means what? The type of observation, the type of perceiving process. Here, a particular thing is to be observed in an individual observes a particular thing in a different way. Another individual observes that same particular thing in a different way. So here, the world is a context of existing and for knowing. So here we have to say that the empiricists believe on the empirical knowledge. And here, the theory and concept received investigation. According to Kelvin, the theory and practice of empiricism says what? That an observer, investigator, or researcher goes out into the world to observe, collect, and record data and facts objectively, that is, non-selectively and with no a priori ideas, but about their relative importance to him. He must then analyze what he has observed and recorded. So, according to the view of Kevin, so one should observe a thing without any subjective biasness. He should be objective in his observation. Then only what he observes can be recorded in an objective manner. Then only the knowledge will be true, reliable, valid. So, again, how do theories and methodology affect investigation? So, here the simplest possible task of counting the number of people in the, here we say that it is often people think that empirical investigation is gaining knowledge of the reality as it exists out there in an objective way. But the question is, can we at all obtain data which is completely theory free and hence objective? So it is a very big question that whether are we able to have objectivity in our observation? Are we free from all kind of biasness? Whenever we observe a thing, do we have a personal touch attached to it? Because we are human beings, it is very difficult to have complete objectivity. And whenever we conduct research on human beings, because ours is a social science, we are not dealing with natural science, just like physics, chemistry, biology. But we are dealing with education, human beings. We have to carry our experiments on children. They have their own temper tantrums. They have mood swings. They keep on changing their behavior. The type of thing or answer they give to a particular questionnaire will differ if we apply that same questionnaire to the same subject. So it is very difficult to observe objectivity in case of your social science researches. So here we see that is gaining data about the knowledge. So empiricism claims that we can get true valid knowledge of the world through our senses, and further that it is the only way we can obtain true objective knowledge. So here, according to the empiricist view, that is, sense organs do provide us with true knowledge. And here defines the real world according to its theoretical means. Empiricism say that what we observe through our sense organ is true and valid and reliable. So here it is all based upon what? That is your perception and observation. But ordering data about the world. So here suggests that perception of any situation essentially characterized by selective noticing and filtration. This process is influenced substantially by our priori knowledge, our concept, our preconception, our prejudices, our experience, and mental set. These things determine what to look for, what to notice, how to look, how to categorize what we find. So ordering data, that After gaining information, we try to order or organize the information in our mind. How to select, how to order it. These all is affected by our previous knowledge. Background thought process, the type of past experiences we have that determine what we are looking for, how to organize a thing, how to look for that thing, how to categorize a thing. So here, ordering data about the world is affected by our past experiences and knowledge. So in this way, we have seen the type of knowledge, what are the criteria of getting the knowledge, what are the different theories of proving whether the particular knowledge is true or false. So in this way, we have come to the conclusion of your block 4, that is education and overview. Then tomorrow we'll be having our MES-12. Okay, thank you all.